The Atlantic winds felt like whispers of something eternal. Portugal's coastline shimmered in the evening light, but this time it wasn't the beach that drew people in, it was the presence of something larger. As the Grand National Tour reached Lisbon, fans from across the nation filled the stadium, creating an almost electric atmosphere. What started as just another tour stop was about to evolve into something unexpected, something that couldn't be anticipated or planned. Welcome to Celebrity Cookies, where the tea is always hot and the stories come with sprinkles of surprise. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment with your take on the story. By this point, fans of Kendrick Lamar and SZA had come to expect nothing less than excellence. The tour had showcased various cities, with standing ovations, breathtaking visuals, and unforgettable performances. However, Lisbon brought a distinct energy. It was a spirited city, a place where language flowed as freely as music, and where locals knew how to celebrate joy when it arrived. The stage lights ignited perfectly, smoke swirled around the platforms, and massive LED screens lit up with vibrant clarity. Even before Kendrick took the stage, there was a tangible sense that this night could be something special. And then he emerged. Dressed in all black, with sharp, focused eyes, Kendrick Lamar launched into DNA. A powerful entrance that sent shockwaves through the audience. His delivery was precise and deliberate, each word slicing through the stadium like lightning. When the beat dropped, the crowd erupted with roars that echoed off the concrete walls. Moments later, SZA appeared like a vision, graceful, radiant, and almost ethereal in her movements. Her voice wrapped around love galore with a softness born from years of struggle and healing. The contrast between their energies created a perfect storm. But then, something unexpected occurred. Midway through the show, the anticipated turned into the extraordinary. A chant began. It started softly, barely audible over the music, but gradually grew louder. It was spontaneous, not initiated by any hype man or signal. Just pure instinct from the crowd. Esta merda boa. Esta merda boa. Initially, it was hard to understand, a foreign language for many. However, it quickly captured the attention of the artists. Kendrick tilted his head slightly, surveying the crowd. SZA, in the midst of her verse, turned a bit, her eyebrows raised as she picked up the rhythm from the corner of her eye. The chant spread throughout the arena. It was more than mere words. It was an emotional wave washing over everyone. Kendrick paused for a moment, not the kind of pause for applause, but one that signaled a genuine moment was happening. He looked at the audience, and then at SZA, a small smile forming on his face, an acknowledgement, a question, a spark of connection. Esta merda boa. The crowd's chant grew louder. Then, Kendrick did something unexpected. He started to dance, not the planned moves of a rehearsed performance, but a spontaneous reaction. He let himself go with the rhythm of the crowd, and for a brief moment, the heartbeat of the Portuguese audience aligned with the performance. SZA, intrigued and joyful yet a bit hesitant, approached the stage and leaned down to a fan at the front. Her voice was soft, but her question was clear. "What does that mean?" Without missing a beat, the fan smiled brightly and answered, "It means, this stuff is amazing." The words were simple, but the feeling behind them was powerful. SZA's face lit up like fireworks. She turned to Kendrick, her grin growing wider, and shared the news. "They're saying this stuff is amazing." Kendrick laughed, a genuine, heartfelt laugh that was spontaneous and warming. He approached the mic, his eyes sparkling. "Say it again." And they did. Louder. Stronger. Together. The chant became the heartbeat of the night, resonating with the music and the movement. "This stuff is amazing." Kendrick danced again. SZA spun around. The lights pulsed as if they were in sync with the crowd. This was more than just a performance. It was a collective experience. That one phrase, sung in Portuguese by thousands, broke down the imaginary barrier between the artists and the audience. No translation was needed. No special effects were required. Just a genuine exchange of emotions. And the artists felt it. One fan later tweeted, "I haven't seen this happy on stage since the GKMC days, lol." That sentiment felt spot on. There was something in the way he moved, the lightness in his steps, the freedom in his expression. It reminded everyone of a Kendrick who used to freestyle on street corners, rap into shaky cameras, and pour his heart into mixtapes. That passion, that raw connection, it had returned. And it was alive in Lisbon. SZA was deeply touched as well. At one moment, she stood at the center of the stage, hand over her heart, her eyes wide and shimmering. Her gratitude was evident, not the rehearsed kind typical of award shows, but the profound, personal appreciation that artists experience when their vulnerability is met with love. She blew kisses, mouthed "thank you," and radiated joy every time the audience's chant returned like a cheerful boomerang. Performing in a foreign country always comes with some uncertainty. Will the audience understand you? Will they connect with you? Will your art resonate? That night, the answer was a resounding yes. That moment ignited something extraordinary. The rest of the evening felt like pure magic. Kendrick performed "Humble" with such intensity that the crowd shouted every word back at him. "All Right" resonated like a hymn, with the stadium swaying together in unity. Then came "The Blacker the Berry," powerful and unwavering, yet filled with a shared warmth that made its heavy themes easier to digest. SZA followed with "Supermodel," her voice flowing over the music with haunting elegance. She delivered "Kill Bill" with such fervor that it felt more like a personal revelation than just a song. Even during those intense moments, the connection remained strong. The audience, still riding the wave of excitement, embraced her completely. There was no divide between them, just a shared experience. Social media exploded. Within hours, videos of Kendrick dancing to Esta, Merda, Boa were everywhere. TikTok users began remixing it with beats, memes, and fan edits. Portuguese fans beamed with pride, realizing their chant had become a global phenomenon. Artists seek connection, and in Lisbon, that bond was formed not through perfect notes but through a shared emotional language. The phrase evolved into a digital symbol of pride. On Twitter, someone commented, "I never thought I'd see Kendrick Lamar dancing to a Portuguese chant, but here we are and it's everything." Fan art emerged, illustrations of Kendrick mid-dance, with the chant surrounding him like a halo. Even major media outlets reported on it, calling it one of the most genuine moments of the Grand National Tour. For Kendrick and SZA, it was a moment of validation, proof that their narratives, challenges, and joys cross borders. For Lisbon, it was an unforgettable evening that would be cherished for years to come. The performance featured memorable highlights. The lighting was striking, the visuals were engaging, and the sound was impeccable. Yet, what truly made this show remarkable was not just what happened on stage, but the vibrant energy from the audience. The magic stemmed from the spontaneous, human connection rather than a perfectly timed beat drop or a surprise guest appearance. Portugal reminded Kendrick and SZA of an important truth. Even at the pinnacle of their careers, adorned with Grammys and accolades, joy can still be found in unexpected moments, in connections, and in the simple beauty of strangers coming together to share meaningful experiences. As the last notes faded and the lights dimmed, the audience was hesitant to leave, and the performers felt the same. Kendrick and SZA stood side by side, soaked in sweat, exhausted yet glowing. Before exiting the stage, Kendrick took one last look at the crowd, raised the microphone, paused, and shouted with all his might, "Esta merda boa." The crowd erupted in response. People screamed, cried, and raised their hands as if reaching for something just out of reach. An encore was unnecessary. The message had been delivered perfectly. As the stage emptied and the lights dimmed, it became clear that Lisbon had provided one of the most authentic evenings of the Grand National Tour. It may not have been the loudest or flashiest, but it was certainly the most heartfelt. For Kendrick Lamar, it was a reminder of his original inspirations. For SZA, it illustrated that vulnerability resonates with everyone. And for all of us, whether we were in the audience, watching on our phones, or feeling it in our hearts, it was a profound lesson about the power of music when given the space to resonate. This was more than just a tour stop. It was a moment of spiritual reflection. It was a collective experience among strangers who, for one night, communicated through rhythm and connection. It was an evening where hip-hop not only traveled but also transcended boundaries. Even after the music stopped, the chant remained in the thoughts of everyone there. It turned into a memory, a mantra, a reminder that sometimes, when the connection is real, all that needs to be said is, "This is so good." I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation. so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.